Well, hello students, greetings. This is a quick video talking about evaluating algebraic expressions. Now, by now you should know the difference between algebraic and numeric expressions, as algebraic expressions have variables in them. And you should also know, be refreshed on how to do the order of operations, which you might think of as PEMDAS. And we're going to combine the two, and we're going to use what we know to evaluate expressions. Okay, so our goal here is to evaluate algebraic expressions and potentially write and evaluate expressions for real world situations, typically story problems or word problems, however you think of them. So the two steps here, it's a very simple way of going about it. How to evaluate expressions, two steps. One is to substitute. And I'm going to circle that because substituting is really important. And if you watch this video, if you want to look, Google plug it in for Glade. It just goes, it's a little jingle from an older commercial called "Plug It In, Plug It In." It was for a Glade plug-in. But that's what I think of when I think of substituting, plugging it in. So right here we have m, and this is taken from up above here, m plus p divided by 5. We can't do anything with this until we substitute the given numbers for the variables. So we know that m equals 1 and p equals 5. So we're just going to substitute 1 in for m, and you can keep the addition symbol, and 5 in for p, and then keep everything that's left. Now if you look at it, it's in a form that we know how to work with. All right, so I am going to clone this and bring it down here, because what we're going to do now is simplify it. That's the second step. Step one was to substitute, and step two is to simplify. So simplify the expression using the proper order of operations. And if you want to write it over here, I'll write it P for parentheses, E for exponents, M and D for multiplication and division, and then A and S for addition and subtraction. Those are both from left to right. So we don't have any parentheses. I'll use a different color now. If you look at this, we don't have any exponents. We do have multiplication or division, and it just happens to be division right here. So 5 divided by 5, I hope you know, is 1. And then you're left with 1 plus 1. And of course, you do addition or subtraction, which is all that's left, and 1 plus 1 equals 2. So that's a very basic way of simplifying or evaluating expressions. Now I have a couple more examples here. The first one says 14 minus 2x. Simplify that when x equals 5. So, first step is plugging it in, or substituting. There's only one variable, and so you plug in the 5 for the x, and since this right here, 2x represents multiplication, don't just plug it in and make it 25. You actually have to use multiplication. So 14 minus 2, and that is multiplication, 2 times 5, since that's what we're plugging in. And then that's what we simplify. So step 2 is simplifying. Again, PEMDAS. You can think of parentheses, exponents, multiplication or division, and addition or subtraction. The first thing on our list that we can do here is multiplication, because there's no parentheses or no exponents, so we do the little multiplication here, which 2 times 5 is 10. 14 minus 10 gets you to 4. And that's the last thing we do is subtraction. The one on the bottom, even though it looks longer, and it might look a little bit more scary, it really isn't. Do the same steps and you'll get the answer, no problem. But here's how we do it. So, first step is always to substitute, or plug it in. So we have x equals 6, and we have y equals 5. And we can plug those in where they are necessary. So y, we can plug in 5. And we still have divided by 5 plus 1 plus, oh, and then we can plug in the 6 for the x, divided by 6. And again, PEMDAS. There are no parentheses. There's no exponents. There is division though, so we'll do all the division first. All the division. Don't go left to right. You do go left to right, but it's just division. So we're going to leave the addition stuff for last. So hold on to that. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 6 divided by 6 is 1. And you still have that plus 1 in the middle. And here we go, 1 plus 1 plus 1. I hope you know how to do this, because we are at the 8th grade level by now. 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 3. And that's your final answer. Okay, so that's a quick overview of evaluating expressions. And I wanted to show one real world example that you probably learned how to do back when you were in, I don't even know, 3rd, 4th grade at least. It's talking about area. So our situation says that Brett knows that the length of the, and this should say the length of the, I'll cross this out, of his balcony is 13 feet. So typically if you see numbers, it's probably something important. And the width is 4 feet. Help Brett find the area of the balcony. You're probably thinking, well, area is length times width, so obviously it's 13 times 4. But what you're really doing is evaluating an expression. So what is the expression for area? We think of length times width. You might also think of base times height. Both are acceptable. In this case, we're talking the words in here are length and width, so we're going to use length times width. So how do we find the area of that balcony? Well, we're going to plug it in. If we know that L equals 13 and W equals 4, we can plug them in. Instead of L, we'll do 13 times, instead of W, we'll do 4, and your answer is 52. And if you didn't know that one by heart, you can try it on a calculator, or you can think of a deck of cards. There's 4 suits, and each suit has 13 in them, and that makes up a total of 52. 52 pickup. All right, so that's an overview of achieving our 2 goals of evaluating expressions. Check, that was the first part, and writing and evaluating expressions for real world situations. Even though it was the most basic one, that is how you do it. All right, and have a great rest of your day.